there guys, Misty here from TheJollyFatElf. Welcome back to another week of cards. This week we are focusing on the Night in Bethlehem and the Wise Men from Afar stamp sets. The Night in Bethlehem is a bundle with the coordinating framelits. All of this is in the holiday catalog. I'm also using the Star of Light bundle that was in last year's holiday catalog. So I'm going to be using a sentiment from there in this star. Pay no attention to the Mary and Joseph image. I had a different idea in my head and it didn't quite work out. So that's why this video is a little bit jumbled. So I have a piece of Knighted Navy that measured 5.5 by 8.5, scored it at 4 1/4. This is an inside card layer that measures 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to insert that, and then I'm going to cut out that star from a piece of Whisper White. And here I am again. Just ignore Mary and Joseph. Just ignore them. So after I do that, I'm going to cut out one of the cityscapes, I guess is what it is, out of a piece of basic black. And I wanted it a little bit longer on the bottom, so I'm doing some partial die cutting. So you can see there that I didn't cut all the way through the bottom. And that was so that I could have a longer base at the end. So I'm going to take my scissors and very carefully I'm going to snip off the sides. That way this is a full 5.5 inches wide. I ended up cutting this down to 5 1/4, but initially, again, I wanted it 5.5. Now you don't really need the precision base plate for these dies, but you have to be very careful because those palm trees are very, 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 very fragile. So here I have a piece of creme cake cardstock that I cut down to 4 by 5 1/4. This is going to be where I'm going to adhere all of my die cuts to. So, and again, I'm going to cut down that cityscape down to 5 1/4 wide. I'm going to cut this largest label from the Lots of Labels framelit set out of this piece of Night of Navy. I want to use vellum and I need something to adhere the vellum to. That's kind of where this card went astray. And I basically had to start all over because I messed up with the vellum. I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. I barely had 2 hours of sleep last night, so my brain is pretty fried, but I got it together in the end. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this silhouette down to the card base just using some Snell. I'm going to go ahead and place the star first. My initial idea with this card was to have the Mary and Joseph image in the star with the wise men going toward that. It just looked funky. So I'm going to play with that though because it was really cute in my head and or stunning. I shouldn't say cute. This isn't necessarily a cute card. But it was really stunning in my head. So I'm going to play with that layout some more and see if I can get it to look the way that I wanted it to look. Now the first 3 or 4 videos for this week are going to have a voiceover because I'm filming them on Labor Day and Rob is doing laundry, vacuuming, those kinds of things, and I didn't want to impede on him doing that, but I needed to get some videos filmed. So I'm going to be doing some voiceovers. So I'm cutting down this piece of vellum down to 4 by 5 1/4, and then I am going to trace this label around it so I'll know exactly where I want to stamp everything. Now I do get this a little off kiltered in the end, but I end up really liking the way it looks. So you can do this step or you can skip it. If you don't want to use vellum, you can use a window sheet, etc. So I went ahead and kind of traced that star in the corner. That way I could line up my other star from the Star of Wonder or Star of Light set, and I'm going to stamp this using some Versamark ink, and then I'm going to emboss it with some copper embossing. I'm going to stamp this, then I'm going to stamp the wise men from the Wise Men from Afar on the vellum as well, and then I am going to stamp the Guide us to thy perfect light. That's the sentiment that I'm using. I'm going to emboss that on the front of the Knighted Navy, also in copper. Again, this card didn't necessarily go as I had planned it, but I really do love how it turned out. This is one of those cards that I don't know that you would want to mass produce. I think if you do all the steps at once, it might be a little easier to do it. But, and I think if you skipped the vellum and maybe just either stamped on acetate or, you know, die cut and then, or cut out the stamped Wiseman, that it would be a little bit easier for you. So I have this video sped up about two times faster than what I would normally be. I had almost 2 hours of footage for this card. That'll tell you how much trouble I had today. I was just like, I had all these ideas in my head and I just couldn't get them to translate to paper. So after I get this stamped, then I'm going to add my copper embossing powder and I am going to heat emboss all 3 images. You guys know I love copper, so I really love this. Now, I will say that this is not fine detailed embossing powder, so a little bit of the sentiment may look a little thick, but it still did fairly well. It also did fairly well on the star, so I really, really love how it turned out. After I heat emboss this, I'm just going to use my eraser to erase the pencil mark. You didn't necessarily have to trace all the way around there. I did, and if you're a little bit better with vellum than I am, you may not even need this step. Now I'm going to heat my card base first because you want your heat tool extremely hot before you take it to the vellum, because you want to heat that vellum as quickly as possible so you don't burn it or warp it. So by now this heat tool is very hot. I have it on 2. And then it's going to take less than like 3 seconds to heat emboss this. Isn't that so pretty? I love it. I love this Wiseman stamp too. I do wish it had a coordinating die, but I like it anyway. So like I said, I'm just going to erase my pencil mark and then get the top adhered down to this. I don't know that I'll do a full 2 weeks with these sets. I do have days 1, 2, and 3 filmed. If I can get some more inspiration, like if inspiration strikes me, and I may feel better tomorrow. Like I said, I barely had any sleep last night. I finally fell asleep about 3:30 and woke up at 8. So I guess that's 5 hours. That was a little bit more than what I thought, but I just could not sleep. So that's what happens sometimes. So that was my initial plan for it. I wanted it to be exactly centered, and I like that too, but this ended up being a little off center, and I really actually prefer that. So you guys do it however you want to. And this is where I kind of get it a little off. I don't know what I was doing. That's all right. Again, I messed it up and then I get there in the end, and that's all that matters. So I'm really glad that you guys enjoyed the bloopers that I posted on Saturday. I'm not going to have any from this card because basically I just deleted all the clips. But we'll see what happens with the other cards. Don't forget that if you need a holiday catalog, make sure that you just email me and I'll get you one in the mail. And yeah, the holiday catalog is live, so you can get all these goodies. We had fun on Friday night in my Facebook group. If you missed it, you can head over in there and watch the live video. Of course, it's no longer live, but the video is still in there. Created a couple of cards. Went through the holiday catalog. We just had a good time. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Everything will be linked down in the description box down below, and the blog post should go live in the next day or so. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.